beat Iowa. We got a Factor Fiction edition of Homecoming Weekend. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Herrings. We have Iowa tomorrow. Massive game. We have Factor Fiction, including the first one I'm going to kick with Rajiv. Is just, do we beat Iowa? Factor Fiction. Today's episode brought to you by Mazda. Like every player, Mazda sweats every single detail. Because when you make every move count, moving the game forward, Mazda move and be moved. Get there with a little bit more style. Rajiv, first one, man. Factor Fiction. Do we beat Iowa?
Heck yeah, we beat Iowa, man. Listen, it's now or never. I'm so tired of, first of all, we're here in Madison. We're at a hotel right now. It's like, so if the Wi-Fi is a little shoddy, sorry. But I'm so tired of coming up here and seeing losses. I'm so tired of not being able to celebrate with you and with Justin and all the fans and everything. I just want to have some joy. And I feel like Luke Fickell owes us that. And I feel like this team owes us that. This is not a great Iowa team. This team has a lot of flaws, as do we. And if we don't win this one, when are we ever going to win another game? When are we ever going to beat a rival? When are we going to have any kind of joy? It's now or never. I truly do believe that with their quarterback situation, and even if Gronowski plays, there's so many holes there, and I think we can do a job in this one. I'm absolutely calling for a win, man. Yes, we beat Iowa. Fact.
My concern with your argument is none of those are football arguments, really. Luke Fickell owes us this. It's now or never.
I had the football arguments as well. Arguments as well. I'll give you the football arguments. That's fair. Okay. I'm just emotional about it right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
So the football argument.
The number one thing is their offense, although they can run the ball generally, they're 47th in rushing right now. So they're not really a powerful running game. And we've been able to stop that. We've proven that against Alabama, against Michigan. I'm not saying Justice Haynes ran a lot on us, yes, but we can gum up the run. We can stop them, forcing Iowa to actually pass. The other thing is, unlike last year, we have a pass rush. So with Reiger, with Peterson, Cheeks, if we can force Iowa into some bad spots, we're going to be able to force turnovers, which is how I think this game is won, is through turnovers. Whether it's fumbling or whether it's interceptions, I think we can really fluster Iowa's offense. Now, alternatively, on the flip side of the ball, it's going to be hard to score, but Hunter Simmons, a full week of prep, a full week of game preparation with Grimes, I think the playbook opens up a little more for him. I think he has the ability to put the ball downfield. We have the best player on the field in Vinny Anthony, both sides, and that is why I think we get it done. Ultimately, they're not going to be able to run the ball on us, and I think we're going to be able to shut down their pass because they just don't have that weaponry that other teams have.
Okay. All fair. Well said. Well argued. Dude, I want this win so badly. I don't think we beat Iowa, though. I think it is fiction that we beat Iowa. You mentioned the rush defense. Iowa's rush defense is number one in the Big Ten, both by yards per game and yards per carry against. So we both have great rush defenses. The difference is they average 1.5 more yards per carry offensively than we do. So even if you say, okay, they're going to struggle running, we're going to struggle more running. We have a worse rush offense, and we're going up against statistically a better rush defense than ours. So you're going to have to ask Hunter Simmons to beat a really sound Iowa defense. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a really close, a low-scoring game. And what happens in low-scoring games? Special teams. Who is the better special teams unit? It's probably not even close, quite frankly. It's Iowa, probably by a wide margin. Which unit is more likely to lose a game? It's Wisconsin special teams, unfortunately. I hate it. But if I just try to take a step back and look at it, Iowa has the better defense. They have the better special teams. They've been better in close games. Now, they haven't been great on the road. They've lost, I think, their last 6 Big Ten night games on the road and against teams like UCLA, Rutgers, et cetera. So they haven't been great on the road, but they just feel like a more solid bet. And my heart says Wisconsin, but man, my head has finally, I think, come around to the fact that I don't trust this team enough to beat Iowa at home.
Let's also not discount home field advantage at night. You mentioned Iowa's record at night on the road. Remember that we had 2 night games, and we might have had more, but last year, Penn State and Oregon, and both of them were games against really good teams, and we weren't that good. Now we got It's a better offensive line play. There are other things, but ultimately, like, that Oregon game was so close, even the Penn State game for most of it. That is a factor that I think we will have a good atmosphere, and hopefully it's a good atmosphere. And I think that can help push us over the edge a bit.
Okay, very fair. What's your first factor fiction here?
All right. So we talked about this a little bit, but a healthy Jake Renfro has to start at center. Fact or fiction?
Yes, this is fact. It is fact, although I do have like a bit of a caveat to it, right? This line's better with Jake Renfro in the middle. It just is. So a healthy Jake Renfro, yes, you have to start him. It is getting really frustrating, though, to have him constantly come in and out of the lineup. Because when I think you do that, you game plan for Renfro to be in there. You build continuity around him, and then a couple plays in, he has to come back out, or the next game he can't play. I think it just throws everything into chaos when your center is constantly in and out. I do think you hit a point. I don't think we're quite there yet because this Iowa game is so pivotal. I do think you hit a point where if he can't get fully healthy, you have to shut him down because you have to build some continuity on this line. You have to develop players who might be here next year. And more importantly, you have to develop the players that you know you can count on to make it through 60 minutes of football. And that hasn't been Jake Renfro. But I do think this is fact. If he's healthy, I'm saying like healthy, not like 80%, not 85%. But if he's healthy, you got to play him because I think you need him in the middle.
Yeah, 100% fact. Like, and I think that I know there's people out there that really want to see this consistency, and I get that. But I also think you got to have your best players out there, which is why I was a bit of a proponent of the Maulman move to left tackle because he's the best tackle on the team. He should probably be on your left-hand side. And I think that ultimately, if Renfro's healthy, you can then make another move and potentially move Heinzen out to right guard. Again, not loving the moves, but this line has been nothing but a sieve the entire season. So you're going to have to keep, chopping and changing and making adjustments and figuring out what actually works. And I think that maybe you said it, you called it, Heinzen on the interior does make a lot of sense. So if Heinzen pushes over even to the right guard position, and then we don't have to have another freshman in there or whatever, or Kadenko in there, I think we could definitely make that work if Renfro plays. But even though he's been hurt, Renfro has to be on the field. He is the best center. It is no doubt. And if you're going to beat Iowa, you've got to have the best chance. So it's absolutely critical.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's well said. Do you get to a point for your argument later in the year, if this is still kind of going off the rails, 2 games left, 3 games left, if Renfro still isn't, where do you get to the point where you're like, all right, we're going to play the younger guys now?
I mean, I think it's going to have to be at the very, very end because and even still, this team is going to be fighting for wins. It's all about where we are in the season and how it looks and how it's gone since then. But there will come a time where you're going to have to see what the young guys have. And that's just valuable reps for them too, right? I mean, the more reps those guys get, the better they're going to be next year. But it's just upsetting if we have to get to that point.
Dude, it'd just be another, it wouldn't even surprise me at this point. But yes, I agree with you. I think we're lockstep on this one. I've got a couple factor fictions I'm not sure you're going to agree with coming up. But first, we need to take a quick second for our friends of the show. Quick second to say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by our great friends over at DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. We know that. We're here. It's Friday. We're ready to go. And we're going to look back and see who delivered, powered by DoorDash with DoorDash Streaks, saving more money every time you order. These players, these coaches, these people have delivered the most for the Wisconsin Badgers. Let's break it down. Greg Gard delivered all season last year, powering this Badgers offense to new heights. We just got to talk to him, listen to him a little bit at Big Ten Media Days. Greg Gard delivers. Just like DoorDash, Greg Gard will help you build those streaks up. When the pressure's on, he has come through and he has adapted. And just like Greg Gard delivered for the Wisconsin Badgers basketball team, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save money every Saturday you order. You stack it up all season. You can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at FanDuel. As the NFL's cooking, college football's cooking, basketball's not far away, playoffs in baseball are going on. What a time, Rajiv, on FanDuel. What's your favorite part of the FanDuel experience?
All the different things that you can bet and the ways that you can bet. You have player teasers, you've got player props, you can tease points up and down. It pretty much gives you the option of betting whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. It's just a perfect system to be able to do all the options, right? That's the beauty of it. And in game, that is the way you can really hedge your bets. You can make adjustments. Like you like that action, you can put a little more on it. It just gives you the world of options, and man, is it a lot of fun.
And right now, new customers, $5 bet. If you win, it'll unlock $300 in bonus bets used across the app. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app today to get started. All right, let's jump back into this. Fact or fiction. Plus, if you have any fact or fictions of your own in the comments, throw them in here. We'll try to get to those as well. Live show from Madison. Rajiv, why don't you kick this segment off? What's your next fact or fiction for me?
Okay, so Billy Edwards has been hurt a little bit, right? We haven't seen him yet for a full game or anything. If for some reason Billy Edwards doesn't come back and has to potentially take a medical red shirt this year, fact or fiction, he should stay and play quarterback at Wisconsin next season.
Fiction, hard fiction for me. And I actually thought this one was coming, which is great because you and I have talked about this one offline. Dude, I just don't know how in the world you can go 3 straight years losing your quarterback to either for a lot of the year or part of the year to injury. And then your offseason plan to fix quarterback is to bring back a guy who missed the entire season with a knee injury. It feels like you're playing with fire there. More than anything at that spot, you need somebody who is healthy, reliable, who is not coming off a medical red shirt. Like that's I think what we have to avoid. And sure, injuries happen in football, but a knee is something that can be problematic. It's something that can happen again. It's something that can linger. It's lingered for him this entire year. He's hurt it and then re-hurt it and then re-hurt it again just in this season. I think they need healthy. I think you need to focus on somebody who played, who was on the field, who showed durability. And to me, it's not Billy Edwards if he misses this whole year. The one caveat I'd say before I kick it over to you, if you can't spend a chunk of NIL money on it. Like if he came back and it was at a deeply discounted rate, I'm not against having Billy Edwards on the roster. He can't go into next year as your quarterback one.
Injuries happen all the time in football, and we could go get a healthy quarterback that happens to have a knee knock or something in practice, and all of a sudden he's out for a while. Like I understand the concept of he's injured, but he's not an injury-prone guy. He has an injury that unfortunately has him out for most of the season. But I still really believe that Billy Edwards was brought here to be a good quarterback. He's a good leader. He's got poise. I know we haven't seen him out there, and I desperately want to see him out there and playing quarterback. But if he can't go this year, I would gladly take him back next year. And it's an absolute fact for me because he came into the system because of what Grimes was going to offer. They clearly had a good chemistry, and there was going to be a lot of offensive firepower that we were going to potentially see this year. And I still want to see that. Next year, I'm not interested in 4th year of transfer quarterback. I'm not interested in that if we have an alternative. And an alternative could be Billy Edwards. So you go out and get another guy. Now you've got Carter Smith. Maybe he's competing with them. I don't want that. I want to have some continuity. And if you have a guy who came in this year who with Grimes had this whole plan and just couldn't execute it, now you've got another year of potential planning, and now you have that continuity. You've got a lot of the guys who know Billy Edwards. They trust Billy Edwards. And there's no reason not to bring him back. I agree with you on the deep NIL discount. It can't be like, here's a couple $1 million to come back and play. But where I push back is on the knee injury. Like, it's an injury. It happens constantly. I mean, that's saying anyone who's ever had a knee injury hasn't gone on to have a great career. Of course they have. There's been plenty of people that have had knee injuries that recovered just fine. A knee injury doesn't mean you can't do it again. And it's not as though every single season he's played in college, he's been hurt. He's actually not been hurt. Other than now. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he's certainly not an injury-prone guy. I will gladly take Billy Edwards back as a quarterback with some continuity because I'm tired of not having any continuity with this offense.
Then bring him back as a coach. Bring him back as an advisor. If he's so important to the locker room, bring him back as the spiritual leader. I don't think you build continuity by not playing. I think there's a gray area, right? Like, certainly he's familiar with Grimes' system, and you don't have to sell him to teammates because he's been in that locker room. He understands where the best pizza joints are in Madison. All that's great. He didn't play. If he does miss this whole year, I don't know what you're banking on for him coming back. So I think on this one, we just are not going to get on the same page. I want somebody who, for next year, is either the young quarterback, let's say it's Carter Smith, or maybe Ryan Hopkins is incredible. He comes in and takes it, whatever. Or I want somebody who's coming off a healthy season. I am not going to be able to get behind a guy who medically redshirted after 3 years of losing your quarterback to injury.
Billy Edwards was coming off a healthy season. So the same thing can happen next year. Like you could bring in someone off a healthy season and he gets injured and then you're back to the same spot. So in essence, it's the same thing. You're just bringing in another Billy Edwards. I'll take the guy who was with Jeff Grimes' system for a year, even on the bench, because it'll be that much more effective next year. You're basically signing up for the exact same thing. It's a healthy quarterback coming in that we're excited about. We had that this year. He just got hurt. I don't think that means that next year he's not going to have a lingering knee injury next fall. That's my thing.
Are we sure? Jake Renfro has never been able to get healthy. Jake Renfro came into Madison with a lingering injury. It hasn't been able to get healthy. Here's my only point. And I hear you, he could be totally fine next year, right? Or someone's knocking on my door.
See, you got to have the do not disturb on your door like I have.
I'm really loud in here. My point is, you're totally right. An injury this season does not mean he has an injury next season. But for full, I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. One knee injury is worse than no knee injury. Why can't you just go get a guy without a knee injury and not have to worry about it? Because knees can be problematic. They can linger. And we've seen that this year with Billy. And I would point out, you're right, he doesn't have a long injury history, but he only played 1 year at Maryland, really. He wasn't a starter. So in 2 seasons as a starter, he's missed half of them.
I don't know. I mean, I think that the knee injury was kind of it was an issue in camp. It happened. It was a freak injury. I think that's what's lingered. And I agree. I'm surprised at how much it's lingered. He was also mismanaged by the staff. If he hadn't come in the Maryland game, he probably would have started at Michigan and then we'd seen the rest of the year. But I do. And also, I've seen some comments about player development and things like that. I hear that. Well, fine. You want Carter Smith to develop, then you've got Carter Smith and Billy Edwards. You have a veteran guy who can at least be there as a backup. You want to start Carter Smith? Fine, start Carter Smith. I still want a veteran quarterback in this room next year without having to go out for the 4th year in a row, just be excited about another transfer. I'm kind of tired of that. And so if I can keep Billy, I'm going to keep Billy.
So I think that's fair. I'm not, again, I think my last point on this is I'm not against Billy on the roster. I'm against counting on him to be quarterback 1. So if it's Carter Smith and Billy's a veteran presence, I love that. No issue.
That's fair.
But I don't want him quarterback 1. All right. Ready for my next one? Fact or fiction, not what you want to happen. Fact or fiction, what will happen. Jeff Grimes throws the ball more than 5 times on first down against Iowa.
Yes, I think fact, it will happen. It will happen. And I think that because it's what Iowa's going to give you, you have to give what the defense, you have to take what the defense gives you. And Iowa, as you pointed out, is not giving you rush. They're not giving you rush yards. We're still going to have to try, but how many people, and ourselves included, were just furious with Jeff Grimes last week after that amazing first drive. And all he did was just run on first down over and over and over again. And if anything's going to change from last week, that has to be it. Because Hunter Simmons proved that he can make some throws, and you're not fooling anybody anymore. You can't just run on first down. We had 2nd and 9, I think 10 straight drives. It's unbelievable. We can't do that again. We have to be creative. I would love to see the first play of the game, play action, deep shot to Vinny. Utilize your best player. We were having a chat in the bar last night about who the best players on the team are. Vinny Anthony is clearly one of the best players on the team, and he's a real player. Utilize that guy. Absolutely throw it on first down. Obviously, we want him to do that. I think he will do that based on the fact that not doing it last week cost us the game.
I think it's fact 5. I also think this is going to be a game without a ton of possessions. The clock is going to run. I think both teams will try to run the ball a little bit. I don't know, man. I'm not fully sure Grimes trusts Hunter Simmons. I'm not sure he trusts the offensive line in pass protection. I'm going to say fiction. I want him to throw the ball more on first down, but everything you just said could have applied last week. The same thing happened last week, and maybe with a week of introspection, I needed to throw the ball more, but that felt pretty obvious last week, right? First down pass. And a couple times they did it, it worked, and then he just never did it again. So I think another week of practice with Hunter Simmons helps for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say fiction, though, because I just don't fully trust Jeff Grimes after seeing what he's done this year. And it wasn't just the Michigan game. It was also the Maryland game where I don't know what the heck we were calling at times.
I mean, I have to believe that's not I have to believe after last week. I mean, 5 times is not even that high. Like, there's no reason we should be. We could have that after the first 2 drives. We should have that after the first 2 drives. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, every time you get excited about what Jeff Grimes can do, he tends to surprise you in a negative way, which I'm hoping doesn't happen. Again, that first drive against Michigan was amazing. But can we re-execute that, and can we do it better? Can we build upon that?
There was a good comment in here, speaking of that, from DTH. Maybe the first drive was a fluke.
Maybe. I mean, we obviously ran the ball a lot on that first drive, and we were successful in running the ball, which is rare for us. So that it could have been a fluke. But I do think that the sequencing of plays worked quite well in that game. But it was predicated on first down success, which is why that drive worked. We were successful on first down. And then we just stopped being successful on first down, which is why then you got to change it, but he didn't. He almost was committed to having that same recipe for every drive. But so I don't think it was really a fluke. I think it was well executed, but then the offensive coordinator needed to make the adjustment to be able to stay successful, and he didn't do that. That's just from my eyes. Like, I just feel like he just didn't make those changes to be able to build upon that.
I think that's well said. I can see the argument for being a little flukish, right? Because we ran the ball and then Michigan just shut that water off. It was almost like Michigan either didn't expect us to come out and actually do anything based on what they saw. And once we scored, they were kind of like, all right, we got to lock in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because after that, we tried some of the same running plays. They didn't work. So maybe a little flukish, but I think you're right. Also, the play sequencing really worked, and Simmons was sharp, and Dylan looked good. So I don't think it's fully a fluke. Maybe a little bit. We got to take a quick second here. We're going to come back. We got a couple more factor fictions, including I got one from basketball as well that I'm excited to get to, Rajiv. That's coming up next. Locked On Badgers, Factor Fiction, live from Madison. Today's episode brought to you by our good friends over at Mazda. Mazda, absolutely incredible, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about the game. It's about redefining it. It's about those moments that move crowds. It's about those moments that move culture, that move the game forward. This week's movement that moved the game forward, Again, we're going to actually go back to basketball last year. We're going to go to John Tonje, Arizona, dropping 40-plus on them, absolutely eviscerating that Wildcats defense. And yes, am I excited about basketball? Yes, because we just had Big Ten Media Day, and John Tonje all season last year moved the game forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda move and be moved. All right, Rajiv, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Fact or fiction? There was nothing actually substantial that came out of Media Day that makes you feel better about this team. It was, and I praise this because you came out of Big Ten Football Media Day really kind of excited about some things that probably didn't really come to fruition. Is there anything that was said at Big Ten Media Day that actually moved the needle for you?
Yes, and I'll tell you. So I will go back to your football comment there. And the reason that I was excited, one of the main reasons I was excited was Billy Edwards' leadership and all that. His injury affected that, and I don't think we could have seen. I will stand by the fact that if Billy Edwards is healthy this year, this looks different. I've said that many times. I believe that. Yes, I do. And the one thing that really came out of Beanie Days that I was excited about was the freshmen, the newcomers to this team, right? Like, he talked a lot about Will Garlock and multiple people, and Hayden and Kinzinger, and like, there's a lot of new assets on this team that seems to be exciting. Not just Greg Gard, because some of that is coach speak, but you heard the players mention that. You heard John Blackwell and Nolan Winter talking about how excited they were. And when I hear things about Will Garlock from Nolan Winter, that excites me. And he said that he's taken on a kind of leadership role, of course, and sort of mentoring Garlock and Alexis. And I think that the excitement of the new players and what seemingly will mean potentially more of these freshmen in the rotation, which I think we're probably a little surprised by, that's what moves the needle for me a little bit. Other than that, it is mostly just kind of coach speak and, trying to build excitement, which they did a good job of, but specifically the freshmen and how they're developing. And he also comments a lot about the international guys and how they're ready to play more right off the bat. It's those newcomers. I think we're going to see more of an impact from the newcomers than we have in the past.
I'm also going fact in this one. I could have gone two directions. You took one of them. I thought you said it really well. The freshman, Kinzinger too. Both those players sound like they're ahead of the curve. I think that's awesome. And I tend to think if they weren't, people just wouldn't say anything, right? It's one of those things where if Garlock wasn't ahead of the curve, they just wouldn't say anything. But the fact that they're openly talking about how good he looks, Kinzinger too, I think is a big deal. I think it was Blackwell that said Kinziger is like a microwave, like he could drop 30. And he wasn't talking drop 30 like next year. He's like, he could drop 30. So I think that's exciting. The thing that really stuck out to me was Nolan Winter talking about, and he didn't go deep on it, but you have to he said, I think there's some things defensively we can throw at teams. And we're still Wisconsin. We're still going to play man. But it felt like they're maybe working on something else under the hood, the way he said that. He said 1 through 5 were switchable. I love that. That's modern basketball. I think Winter can switch onto a point guard and keep him out of the paint. And I think Blackwell, Boyd, Carrington, Rhodey are tough enough and big enough to hold their own on a switch against a rolling big for a little bit. I'm really excited to see the nuance they can add to this defense with the length and the toughness and the veteran poise. That moved the needle to me.
That's really well said. I heard that comment, but I didn't really pick up on that as being like a wrinkle defensively. That's interesting. I mean, do you feel like we could be a decent defensive team now? Because if we're a decent defensive team, this team could be super special because offensively, they all thought they're going to shoot more threes. Like this team will be even better offensively. Although John Tonje is a huge hole to fill, obviously, but this is going to be really good.
I think we could be solid defensively.
Wow.
Now, here's what I'll say, and people are going to need to adjust their metrics, I think, in my opinion, a little bit. When you're looking at this team defensively, it's not points given up because we're going to play faster. There's going to be more points in transition both ways. You can't play faster and not allow the other team to score more. It's going to be efficiency metrics. Can we keep opposing true shooting percentage down to a certain point? Can we limit free throw attempts for the opponents? Those are going to be the metrics you're going to look at with this defense. If they can do that, I think we can win a bunch of games this year. And we need to see it. But I was really intrigued by Winter talking. I don't know if that's going to mean a few different zone looks or maybe some matchup zone. He was definitely talking about some wrinkles, and I'm excited to see what that looks like when you start to break down the X's and O's.
Dude, basketball season can't come soon enough, man. We're excited. I've got a basketball one as well. We haven't talked about this, which is good. Yesterday, one of the things that came up at Big Ten Media Days from the commissioner was talk of the NCAA tournament. So, fact or fiction, the NCAA tournament should be expanded, in your opinion?
Yeah, I actually haven't thought about this a ton. I mean, I've heard obviously all the talk. I'm going to say fact, and I think it runs counter to what a lot of people would say. I think a lot of people, 64 teams is enough. And my counter to that is always more one-and-done basketball is better. Like, if they expand it, there's not going to be a game where I'm not going to be at least a little excited to watch. I almost think more is better. And let's be honest, there's 40 teams that make it every year that really have no shot at winning a title anyway. There's 40 teams that make it every year that really aren't that good, that have flaws. So I don't think it's such a big dilution of quality if you add another 10 or 12. So I'm okay with it.
So I'm a fiction on this, hard fiction. I don't think it should have moved from 64 to 68. That drove me crazy. I need the NCAA tournament to be somewhat exclusive still. And I know it's not exclusive, but I want it to mean pretty much the general rule of thumb is if you finish over 500 in your conference, especially in a good conference like ours, you're in the tournament, which I think was good, right? I think that's a really good thing. Like, you have to prove that you are good enough to play in this tournament. And then once you're in this tournament, it's chaos. It's crazy. I do appreciate the fact that you have the mid-majors, that get their conference champion in. Anybody, and theoretically anybody can get into the tournament. You can win your conference tournament and still get in. Even if you are a bad team, you can get into the tournament by winning your conference. That's enough. You want to open it up for everyone? Fine. You have a chance. Every team in America has a chance to make the tournament, even if you won nothing in the regular season. That's enough. I don't need it dumbed down by having 8 and 12 Big Ten teams making it to the NCAA tournament. What's the point of it then? It needs to be something that is a reward for having a good season. The 64-team bracket is perfect. It's awesome. It provides plenty of drama, plenty of good games, plenty of everything you need in a basketball tournament, which is why it's one of the best events that's ever been created in sports. Don't F it up. Don't change it. Just leave it alone. I don't need to see this constant money grab all the time. Just preserve the sanctity of what that tournament has been. I hate expansion talk. I want nothing to do with it. I am all out on this. Give me my 64 and leave it alone.
I think it's fair. I don't feel that deeply on either side on this one. I'm going to be honest. And I don't think expanding it is going to ruin the overall product. I just don't think March is going to come and you have this expanded thing. And at the end of it, you're going to say, that was terrible because 8 more teams made it. It just doesn't feel like it's going to make that big of an impact. And it's almost like, are you in favor of expanding the playoffs for college football? Are you in favor of like the 12 or 16? Was that a good thing? Like sometimes opening it up, you open up, obviously money's the reason here, but you open it up for new teams, new opportunities. And at the end of it, I think most people are like, oh, I kind of liked watching all these games.
I'm very open to expanding the college football playoff for a reason that we're going to say for another show, because I think that it creates like there's a lot to talk about there. And I think we should talk about that. But the basketball one, like the problem is at some point, look, everything in this sport is about money at this point, and we all know that. But it's like, it's just so egregious, the money grab, right? You're just like, oh, let's add 10 more teams so we can add a whole nother day of this. And then it's going to be 20 and then it's going to be 30. It's just like, I'm not even like an old school type of guy. I'm all for the modernization of things, but at some point it's already big enough. Like how many teams are there in college basketball? You don't need to just invite everyone. It just doesn't make sense. And I think the number one point for me is you got to earn your way in. So if you have 8 wins in the Big Ten in a new project, you might get in potentially. That's unreasonable to me. You can't just start losing games and make your way into the tournament and get a chance at getting on a good run. Because in basketball, like if you shoot the well from the 3, one day you can win, but you need to earn your way into the tournament.
That's fair. I'm not going to argue too much on that. I don't feel as deeply on either side of this one. I guess it doesn't bother me too much. My last one here, switch it back to the Iowa game. Love talking hoops, but let's finish off on Iowa. Fact or fiction? Hunter Simmons is just the new Danny O'Neal, who was just the new Braden Locke, who was just the new Tanner Mordecai. Maybe fact or fiction, we've gotten a little carried away with Hunter Simmons looking competent.
I mean, that's probably fact, because we're starving for a quarterback. Like we're starving for someone who can bring success to the position. If we don't have a healthy Billy Edwards, who I think can bring some success, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably fact. I would say that when you compare him to Danny O'Neal and Braden Locke, I mean, if you compare Tanner Mordecai is a good quarterback. I would take him in a second, right?
Yeah,
right now. But Braden Locke and Danny O'Neal have a lot of warts. One of my biggest things when I look at quarterbacks is the ability to throw the ball, scanning the field. Like, how good are they at actually going through their progressions? Can they be a guy you can rely on at that position? We don't know if we can rely on Hunter Simmons because we haven't seen him that much. But I do think he can make the throws way more than Braden Locke and way more than Danny O'Neal. So that already gives him a leg up. And he has good experience. I mean, he did play at was it Southern Illinois, right? But I think that ultimately, like, it probably is a fact. But I'm just my like sort of heart and my wishful thinking, it just wants so desperately for someone to be able to come in here and actually play this position and give us some level of consistency. So yeah, it's fact, but I don't want it to be. And I really hope that he is a little bit better. And I think there are flashes of him being a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, he's still a backup quarterback. He still started at the 3 to start the year behind Billy Edwards and Danny O'Neal. Like that already tells you a little bit about what you need to know.
Yeah, that's well said. I think it's fact as well. You know, it's almost, to your point, we're so desperate for good play there. It's almost like where I live in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, there's no Italian restaurants really close, or Mexican restaurants. So I'll go to Taco John's, like, these tacos are amazing. They're not really amazing. My standards are just a little low because of where I live. I don't have great options around me. You see Hunter Simmons throw like an 8-yard out route, and it's like, it looks like Terry Bradshaw here. And guys, like, there was like, he threw the pick against Michigan on a pretty badly underthrown ball. He could have had 2 more picks against Michigan. That pretty easily, a second or 2 later, could have been a 3-pick game. And then we're like, put Danny O'Neal back in. This doesn't work. I think it is fact, and it's not Hunter Simmons' fault. I think he did really, really well considering what he was put into. But I think it is fact. And now you're playing an Iowa defense. It's going to be a little scary at times. So I'm rooting for him. I do like the arm strength. I think you're dead on. He can spin the football. I wouldn't be expecting multiple reads. He's not very mobile. This offensive line has to give him time. What happens when he gets hit a couple times? I think it is fact. It's just a victim of low expectations based on several years of this.
Just one more reason to bring back Billy Edwards next year. There you go.
Billy Edwards not being healthy is why we're here. That's why we're in this spot.
He'll be healthy next year. You got to give him a chance. Jeez.
Let's finish here. Game prediction, game score. What is your game prediction score for Saturday?
I'm staying with my original prediction I made earlier this week. It does require us to score points, but we'll see. 20-10 is my prediction. Badgers win 20-10. I really do feel like it's going to be turnovers, like something crazy. That's what's going to happen in this game. And I think we can force them because of guys like Mason Reiger, Sebastian Cheeks. Like our edges are going to be the thing. When we're done, we're doing a reaction show. And we're talking about this game. My prediction is that the players of the game are going to be Mason Reiger and Sebastian Cheeks. Like they are going to wreak havoc. And because the offensive line for Iowa is not great. I mean, it's fine. It's good. It's better than ours, but it's not great. And those guys have been able to cause havoc a fair amount. They do that here with a bad quarterback, with even if Gronowski's playing, it's still not that great. He's had a bad season. Or if Tank Brown, whoever plays quarterback, they're going to be flustered. They can cause turnovers. That's hopefully I'm calling. You know what? I'm calling a pick six. That's going to be some of those points. Pick six. Let's go.
What was the last meaningful turnover this defense forced? Because you're right. You're right. Like I think it's going to come down to turnovers, but this defense hasn't forced them.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a big turnover in the USC game I was at last year, but there hasn't been a lot, man. There really hasn't been a big. I mean, certainly was it Miami game or Middle Tennessee where Zachman had 2 picks?
Yep, Middle Tennessee Agard had the pick too.
Yeah, those are fairly meaningful. I think Zachman had meaningful turnovers in the Miami Ohio game because that game was close for too long.
Yeah,
and he's not even playing, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. So the guy you're pointing to is a guy who forced the meaningful turnovers is not actually playing. It sounds like Gronkowski, for everyone watching the show, Iowa's quarterback is probably going to play. I actually kind of wonder if it's going to be because part of his game's mobility. I don't know if that's going to be a great idea for Iowa. Kind of similar to Billy trying to go against Maryland, not being mobile, and it ended up throwing off their entire game plan. I almost wonder if that could work well for Wisconsin because Gronkowski is not a great quarterback when he's 100%. If he's kind of iffy, bro, I think your game script could work. I'm gonna go. Oh gosh, dude, I hate this. I think Iowa probably wins like 14-13, like 14-10. I want to be so wrong, and that nothing will make me happier than coming on the reaction show with you and Justin in Camp Randall and saying I was an idiot, I was wrong. Wisconsin won. Let's effing go. Nothing would make me happier than that. I just don't trust this team, man. I don't trust our special teams. I don't trust us in a close game. I don't trust a third-string quarterback who was at the FCS level last year to beat Iowa in his second start. I don't trust an offensive line that has been able to block this year. We have the worst rushing offense in the Big Ten. We've had 3 kicks blocked this year. I want so desperately to win this game because we're here. It's our meetup. We hope to see everybody. I'm going to say like 14-13 Iowa, man, and I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. Your take is clearly very reasonable. I do. I mean, this is the heart talking here for me. It's hard. It's all just like when I said to kind of at the top of the show that like Luke Fickell is kind of a now or never thing. He's got to show us he can do this, and I think he can. I think he will. And it's just at some point, something's got to fall our way, right? And this is just one of those times where I think it will. And Gronowski is not good, and I think this is what it is. Like Bryce Underwood last week is an extremely talented, good quarterback. Ty Simpson, extremely talented, good quarterback. Malik Washington, good quarterback. That's really surprised a lot of people. We haven't really faced a Gronowski, and I think that this is going to be like of the last 3 quarterbacks we played. He's going to be the worst. Like he's going to be the quarterback worse than all the last 3. That's gonna be something there. We've got something, and our defense is better, at least up front, than it was. That front 7, man. Everything back from Allegro, like that defensive front 7. If those guys play their game, I think we can have success.
Yeah, that's really well said. That's a good point on the quarterbacks. We'll finish here. Oh, that's one I was going to put up, actually.
Yes. Do the Brewers beat the Cubs? Fiction. No, they don't. Let me tell you something. Last night, sitting at the bar last night at this hotel with Ryan, watching that Cubs game. Heck yeah. I know there's a lot of Brewers fans that listen to this. I'm sorry. I don't care. Go Cubs. Let's go. It's going to be during the Badger game, which is very unfortunate. The first pitch is at 7:00 Central. Kickoff is at 6. So Justin and I are not going to be very friendly during the game because he obviously is a Brewers fan who's not very happy. I haven't even talked to him about it the game. I don't even want to talk to him about it today because he's pissed. But I'm not. Let's go Cubbies. Get it done.
Absolutely love it. On Wisconsin, beat Iowa, get the trophy, get some momentum. Let's whatever it takes. We got to get this win this weekend. On Wisconsin, thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Badgers. Really do appreciate you and hope to see a bunch of you out in Madison. Rajiv, let's get it.